Hello, my name is Sherilyn and I'm a music teacher from Malaysia. In this podcast, you will hear me share stories about my teaching career and other stuff that interests me, such that I want to share with you. Stay tuned and listen to what's coming next in this episode. Now that topic is quite something because I actually like listening to it. And that's how I found out about Keystone Habits, and I thought it was quite interesting. Something to keep you motivated, something to keep you going, get you prioritizing things and doing the things that you like. So I thought I picked up waking up early, and this April, and it has been 2 whole years since I have to wake up so early in the morning. Yeah, I will have to wake up at maybe 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning this coming April. So since Tuesday, I have been adapting this habit, which actually is quite normal. I think it's very normal for most people who have, proper jobs. Unlike me, I didn't have a proper job for a while. So I have been living like a teenager for the last 2 years. Yeah, in some ways, I've been living like a teenager. I wake up maybe 8 a.m. at the earliest. Latest is like 9:30 or so, or maybe even 10 if I'm super tired. But anyway, the point is, check out that episode with Jensen. I think that episode is packed with gems. Really, I was very inspired by her story. Still mind-blowing, and I don't mind listening to it again just to take down proper notes about, how one should be productive, how one should prioritize, how one can be a badass music teacher. Very crude, but yeah, sometimes you just want to be a little bit extra. Be that, better self, or be yourself for that matter. Well, I haven't been uploading a podcast since Sunday, and that's partly because this past week was actually a school break, a 1-week break. And Monday and Tuesday, I spent my time at school. There were meetings, there were some, setups, running around to do, checking out the progress of my music room. Not a lot of progress, a lot of work to be done before April comes. And, just like magic, things will just settle in, And, just in line with this podcast topic, which is, going the flow. Yeah, I've been, reflecting about this, going with the flow. And it's not just work. There's a lot of things that has not been what it should be, and one of the few things is just work. Things are like not really moving, but time is moving very fast. Every day is anxiety filled because I gotta get update for this, I gotta do that, prep my room, decorations. I have purchasing to do. I've been doing a lot of surveying and purchasing in these last 2 days, and a lot of discussion with my counterpart, discussions with the principal, management, admin, a lot of things are going on. And it really helped that once I knew about what Keystone Habit is, I started to do my own version of bullet journaling. Like, I'm not the artistic person, frankly. I'm really not artistic, but I really admire those people who can, create really beautiful bullet journals. But I'm not that kind of person. I'm this person that carries a random notebook, good enough for writing, and I can just use my pen and write down stuff. But since I got to know about Keystone Habit, I've been writing down things that I want to achieve daily. And it has been helpful because I've been writing down the stuff that I need to accomplish the next day and subsequent days. And that was one of the few things I learned from this lady, Jensen. She actually writes down her to-do list the night before, and I thought that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's only logical, right, that you write down your to-do list the day before you want to do something. You don't write down list on the day itself. I mean, I used to do that a lot, but I really take notice of this habit now and how important it is, because I don't sleep well when I have thoughts swimming in my head at night before I sleep. And it's like, I close my eyes and I start picturing the things that I gotta do the next day and things like that, and it's very tiring and frustrating because I can't sleep fast enough, because body is tired but the mind is just going round and round and round. So writing down, I think, helps. And I just keep telling myself, the last few nights I just keep telling myself that, okay, Sherilyn, you have written down your to-do list, time to sleep, don't think about it. Whatever is to be done the next day will be done the next day. If it can't be done, push it back, prioritize the important stuff. Yeah, and that seems to help a lot. And waking up at 6:30 a.m. the last 3 days has been helpful. Although the first day was really tough, like my mind just want to shut down at 3 p.m. Like I use this word screensaver mode, and yeah, it's like you want to shut down. It's like so tiring and your brain just stopped working. But it got better on the second day because I had better sleep. But today, the third day, wasn't so good because I couldn't sleep well last night. I was tossing and turning. I don't know why. I think because the amount of things that I have to do raise that anxiety, and I just cannot keep calm. It's very hard. But I'm happy to say that I've accomplished most of what I want to do today. So hopefully I have better sleep. And I still haven't got around to do the most important thing, which is to practice my cello first thing in the morning. I still can't get myself to do it yet, but I hope to establish this behavior soon, because when I return to proper physical school, I don't really have a lot of evening time after work, as I still have to teach private piano lessons, and it's tiring actually. I now appreciate the luxury of rest time. I feel that rest time is so important. And if you haven't been getting enough rest, seriously take my advice. It's very important. Self-care is important, especially if you're a person who's busy like me with 1001 things to do. It's no joke. Okay. And today also marks another day of farewells, because I'm in the couple of podcasts ago which I did last weekend, I mentioned that it was my last day at the local music studio. So today marks the last day that I teach online piano for now, because there were 2 students from the studio who didn't return to physical lessons. They didn't feel comfortable, but I gotta go. I gotta move on. So they were already informed that I was leaving and I can't teach them anymore from next month onwards. Yes, it was very sudden for them, but you gotta do the things that you gotta do. And it being the last lesson with these 2 siblings in particular, somehow I left a lot of advice for them, like how they should improve on their playing, and hopefully they remember the stuff I tell them, because teenagers do they really remember this kind of stuff? Basically, whatever that I can dish out to them, encouragement, advice, I just give to them. I wish them the best, because they are good kids. It's just too bad I can't be with them in their piano learning journey anymore. And I guess one of the reasons why I was especially extra with them today is because I didn't have a proper farewell with the other students. Like the other students, that they are much younger, so I didn't want to bring up during the lesson. I have very tough times handling farewells. Like in the past, when I have farewells with my students, especially with younger kids, I get emotional. I once cried. I once teared in front of my students, and I don't know whether they get it because they're so young. But my colleagues who were watching, they were like, Miss Sherilyn, you're getting all of us emotional at the same time because everyone just start crying, everyone's tab just opened up all because of me. Yeah, I just don't like that. And every time I leave one place, I will cry in the car, Thank God I didn't do that last week because, well, they're not very far away from me, these students. I know once in a blue moon, I might see them again if I do pop by the studio to get stuff. But yeah, life goes on. It's something that you learn as you get wiser and mature, older, if I can say that. Yeah, so going the flow, right? I'm literally going the flow with this episode. So yeah, I've been reflecting on this, the past week about going the flow and with schoolwork and stuff, like a lot of incomplete things, and I'm that kind of person that write things down and want to get things done. I'm that kind of habitual, so-called productive person. Some people think I'm very productive, but sometimes I feel I'm just a very big procrastinator. So I need to write these things down to remind myself, like, hey, you got a lot of things going on, so you better get moving. And I still have, tons of things to do. And there are other situations where, I had to go with the flow, especially where my, teaching is concerned, where students are concerned, especially in the past week. My piano students, some of them were exhibiting unpredictable moods and behaviors. I suspect it has a lot to do with them returning to physical school because they have been doing virtual school since last March, and they were supposed to return to school in like mid-January, but that didn't happen because Malaysia went into a lockdown again. So, it was still virtual up until recently. So my students, they appear to be more tired than usual, and they seem a little less enthusiastic, and I also noticed that they didn't practice as much too. So, these unpredictable things, and I have to go with the flow, and thank God I prepared those card games, those flash card games that I mentioned in the previous podcast, because that helped to perk my students' mood, playing games. They learn while playing games. Doesn't hurt to miss 1 week of theory. They still can learn theory with their games. Yeah. And there are also things that, I forgot to write down in the past week. When I forgot those things, those forgotten things suddenly become priority. So a lot of my to-do list got pushed back and back and back. Yeah. So going with the flow also means priorities will change as, you remember stuff or things come at you. I felt like this whole week has not been a resting week. In fact, I think I'm even more tired compared to the normal school days, virtual school weeks. As I'm traveling more now. Since the past week I have to travel to school. I return to my physical cello lessons. I finally went back for physical cello lessons this week. I was happy to be back for in-person lessons because if I didn't mention before, I'm preparing for my grade 8 cello exams. So it's not easy doing grade 8 cello exams online. And my skills are still, not quite there, and I'm still trying to establish this good habit of practicing, but I always tend to do other things. Another sign of me procrastinating. So something's gotta give. Something's got to give. Yeah. So I think that's all for today's sharing. And a few key things about this episode is basically life is unpredictable. But as we learn that in just like what we learn about time in music, time just keep going. It doesn't stop for us. So priorities might change. So we just have to respond, adapt, and just get things organized as much as possible. Nobody is perfect, but we always try our best. Thank you for joining my adventures, and I hope that you have learned something new. Feel free to connect with me on my social media handles, Share the Music, email me at sharethemusic@gmail.com, or visit my website, sharethemusic.org. I can't wait to hear from you and see you soon in the next episode.